Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Walaikum assalam. Woohoo!
Yvonne Maffei here from My Whole Kitchen with Madiha Saeed, Dr. Madiha Saeed, Holistic Mom MD. Those of you who watched us last week know that we are doing a webinar series on how to boost your immune system. And last week we had a really extensive overview. Actually, Dr. Saeed did an amazing job of covering things like what is the immune system and what happens when our body is getting the wrong foods or getting the right foods in the right environment in the wrong environment. So it was just awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. And you guys can watch the replays on my Facebook or YouTube channel and Dr. Saeed's Facebook and your Facebook group, right?
Absolutely.
At Holistic Mom MD. So today we're going to start the second of our series. So every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Central Time, so anywhere you're watching in the world, you can see this. Share with your friends and family, please. But every Wednesday, we're going to hit another topic on the immune system. So today we're going to talk about shopping and what we individually do to find healthy things and where we go and what we buy. So you're going to get like a peek into our pantry, so to speak. And we're going to talk about different foods and different products. And Dr. Saeed is a very busy mom with 4 boys, mashallah. So those of you who with kids will really appreciate a lot of the things that she recommends, products recommends that are healthy and quick and all of that. So go ahead. So now I'm going to give it over to you to kind of recap and stuff.
Absolutely. So we talked about the importance of taking control of our health. So there's a lot of things that we can't control, but then there's a lot of things that we can control. And they say even with everything that we're putting in our bodies, every bite we take goes down and can affect our genetics. So they say that if we can, genetics may load the gun, but it's the environment that pulls the trigger. So if we can, our environment and the environment that we put ourselves in, internally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, all of that makes a huge difference on how our bodies function. And so our immune system is our first line of defense, is like our defense people, it's like that military. And it's waiting for anything bad to come by so it can kill it. And then if something's good, it lets it in. So but over time, what happens because of all these artificial things, everything that we talked about last time, it's at a heightened response that can lead to chronic disease, and it can actually weaken our immune system. So we need to now focus on all of those and empower ourselves with those lifestyle tips that can optimize our immune system. And you guys can go back to our previous talk and we can go, we discussed that in a little bit more, because specifically with food. We talked a lot about the lifestyle, so gratitude, social, spiritual, stress management, detoxification. But I think we're gonna really hone in on the practical of how to actually stock your pantry, how to shop, and what me and you both do in our crazy lives. I mean, you're super busy, I'm super busy. So how we are able to do this. And because whenever we look at food, I think both of us are very mindful about even the oils to the spices.
Oh, yes.
Every ingredient that we put in our bodies has a purpose. For me, there's nothing that goes in my body nilly-willy without thinking about it.
No. I think just becoming Muslim and learning about halal made me a more conscious consumer, because I needed to look at everything for, is there alcohol in it? Is there pork in it? And then through that, I realized, oh my God, there's so much stuff in our food that regardless of halal, like, is this stuff even healthy for you? And that's how I think halal is kind of an entryway for a lot of people. Those of you who are watching who aren't Muslim, don't follow halal, that's fine. This is just a really good information source on knowing like what is in your food and what are you putting into your body. And what I really loved about what you did last week we talked about how it affects our thinking and our psychology. I mean, that is a whole other topic I hope we can dive into at one time, because it's a fascinating subject about what goes in our gut affects everything up here. And we talk about brain fog and, like, I remember being a teacher and having students after lunch be just like lethargic, and people just like accepted that as like the rule of thumb. But that's not right, as we don't have to live like that. So yes, I am extremely cautious of what I put into my body, checking every product. And moving to Turkey, knowing like most things are halal there, yes, but you still have to read labels wherever you are in the world, because
Absolutely.
the massive global food industry is after everybody. Marketing is everywhere in the world. And although I would say that the plates in Turkey, plates of food are much more abundant in produce than I would say in the US, you still have to watch out for lots of, children's candies and snack foods, and just we are inundated no matter where we go in the world. So even in Turkey, I'm reading labels, and that's how I learned the language, but I'm really starting to understand, some ingredients, preservatives are just worldwide. I mean, they really are mass produced somewhere and put into every kind of packaged food. It's just crazy. So we want to talk to you today about getting back to the basics, even if, and this is where you're really good at, is finding products that are more basic, and you use them to feed a big family. So I don't have that because it's my family is smaller. So I think we're coming at it with, two different ways that we're covering both bases, right?
Yes, absolutely. And so, but then again, just to recap, whenever we both of us put food in our bodies, we want to make sure that it follows 3 criteria. And we want to make sure that that food, one, is the most nutrient dense food that you can put in your body.
Absolutely.
Right. And then the next is that we want to make sure that it optimizes our gut bacteria. We talked about that last time, so you guys can take a look there. And we want to make sure that it balances your hormone levels. So everything that me and Yvonne are going to be talking about today are actually cost effective and also nutrient dense, will help to heal your gut bacteria, and will help to balance hormone levels. But this is where me and her, this is also something we're going to be coming out with a book, hopefully in the next year and a half, that will discuss that also. So again, lots of amazing fun things coming up, but now let's dive into the practical about how we both do it.
Well, I just wrote down those 3 things that she said, because I think that those are things to keep top of mind when you're grocery shopping, when you're selecting things. So nutrient dense, optimized gut bacteria, and balanced hormones. So balanced hormones is the hardest one for me, because I don't really understand that, like, how food is translated into hormones. So you can, obviously that's your expertise, and you can help us. I know from a gardening standpoint, nutrient dense is very important. So that's why I'm always talking about gardening with people. Plant your own food. If you can't plant your own food, support farmers who do chemical-free, pesticide-free, organic soil, because the soil is where everything starts. And if the soil is dead, your food is not very nutritious. So you really want to shop for things that, are non-GMO, organic. That's where you get your nutrient density. Yeah. Thanks for putting that up. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Okay.
So let's do this.
Dive into my pantry. Now I'm kind of all over the place, because I've got vegetables and fruits, and I've got spices and everything. So let's start with how I start my day, basically.
Yes, let's start there.
I start my day with black seed and honey. So that's a sunnah. I mean, if those of you don't know, like, a sunnah means like something that our Prophet Muhammad used to do. And it's a very health beneficial thing. I mean, black seeds are full of awesome stuff. I wrote a post about this on My Halal Kitchen. But also honey. Honey has amazing properties, and it never goes bad. And I mean, it's just something I have to make sure I have this in my pantry at all times. But it's something I've made a habit of having a spoon of honey with some black seeds sprinkled on top every day. But can you tell us maybe a little bit about, like, why honey is so beneficial for even, I mean, people who have sugar issues? Like, they might want to know that too. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, one in and of itself is that honey is an amazing alternative sweetener. It's not even an alternative, actually, just so sweet. It's delicious.
Yeah.
And it actually comes in the Quran, so it has really close implications to our health and our religion. So where God tells us in the Quran that in there Allah has made a cure in honey. And now science is just starting to understand the importance of that and how honey can really start to, I mean, it actually goes in and holds on to all of the pesticides and the herbicides and all of that stuff and heals. It's supportive for the digestive, it supports the digestive health. It actually promotes skin health. It actually helps treat, infections, and it can actually treat burns and wounds and ulcers. I mean, they all have such amazing healing properties, specifically with even, Manuka honey. There's so many different types of honey that are so super beneficial.
In Turkey, they have such amazing honeys, but I think wherever you are in the world, you get your local honey because it's supposed to help with local, like your allergies or things like that. But I don't even really keep sugar in the house, not even the raw sugar, because when I want to sweeten something up, like for a snack, what I do is bananas, cherries, even maybe some dried fruits, but not dried fruits if I'm going to add honey, but basically a little bit of honey and lemon juice on top of fruit is like the most delicious snack at night.
And actually, where we're trying to replace, sugar. So just replacing sugar with honey can actually prevent somebody from like packing on extra pounds because it lowers the blood sugar. Now that's like crazy.
Really? So honey lowers blood sugar.
The honey lowers blood sugar.
Wow.
Also, compared to sugar, honey actually lowers the serum triglycerides, which are your cholesterol, like one of the bad cholesterols that are out there.
Oh.
It helps with counters even pollen allergies. It's a great source.
Yes.
Oh, but specifically right now, what we really need to talk about is that how it boosts your immune system.
Right. How does it do that? Tell us.
So what happens is that, there's been so many amazing studies that honey contains disease-fighting antioxidants, like flavonoids and all of these things that support the enzymatic activity. In many studies, they've shown that something called pinosembrin reduces apoptosis, which is a programmed cell death, and of many of the cancer cells. So it actually goes and kills off cancer cells. Laboratory research has actually studied that something else in honey called chrysin can actually increase the male hormone testosterone, improve bodybuilding. That can also then, improve your overall health and wellness. So overall, it is super important. But then I think, and it helps to promote sleep, wound healing. Yes. Oh my gosh.
So maybe like a little bit of honey. Well, when I can't sleep, I a lot of times I have honey with some milk or almond milk at night, and it puts me right to sleep. And I didn't know that, but I just intuitively felt that, and a lot of times it helped me sleep.
And absolutely, because what it does is that honey fosters the release of melatonin in the brain by creating small spikes of this insulin levels that stimulates the release of tryptophan. And tryptophan then converts to serotonin, which is converted to melatonin. So melatonin then also boosts immunity, helps to rebuild tissues during periods of rest. So remember that, specifically during this time where you all are thinking about keeping our immune system healthy, melatonin is critical. So honey is another way that we can boost our overall immune system.
So are you saying you don't need a pill then? You could have some honey and before bed.
Absolutely. But remember, I think we need to talk about here commercial honey versus raw honey.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, you have to be so careful the type of honeys that you buy because some of them they've added sugar to them. And that is a no. That is ruined honey, basically.
Yeah, that's not.
Talk to people. Again, everything today takes work. Okay? Managing your food takes work, but once you know the right producer, you know the right honey, you're going to go back to those people because you trust them, and you know, like I go in Turkey, I go to one shop for the honey. I mean, if I'm traveling around, I do find like local places.
Mhm.
But if I'm just home, there's one place I go, and we can talk to them and know what's happening, and you know a little bit more about where their hives are and everything. So I think we should move on to the next one because honey was like a good topic.
Yeah. So, I mean, but then quickly, just even black seeds is rich in all these really key natural chemicals like thymoquinone and thymohydroquinone and thymol. But specifically, thymoquinone is really well known for antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer properties. And thymol, actually, the thymol that is in the black seeds is a natural it's a natural disinfectant. So again, they've to kill viruses, even they've done studies where it can even improved for TB. So, so a lot of amazing benefits there to fight cancer, promote liver health, benefits hair, skin, aids in weight gain. So all that.
I've had food poisoning before, and I kept taking honey, and I got better really fast.
Mm-hmm.
There's some amazing things. I mean, but that's something I never go without in my pantry. So I'm telling you basically the stuff that I never go without. No matter where I am, I have to have these basics. So black seed and honey, and then super good olive oil and apple cider vinegar. So any olive oil that is pure, that is unadulterated. I happen to get this one. It's a Turkish brand available in the US called Zeytin, and the reason I like it because I know the producers. I've talked to them. I know that what they're doing to get, and they've actually educated me a lot about olive oil. In Turkey, I also get some from like local people. So I think if you're lucky to live anywhere that produces a good oil, try to get it. You never know. You have to talk to people all the time.
Absolutely.
I'm really, really picky about my oils. And because I cook mostly Mediterranean food, that's the fat that I use the most to cook. In the wintertime, I'll use like real butter, but I don't play around with too many different oils. Sometimes I use coconut oil, but I don't make foods that require that taste that often. So maybe you can talk a little bit about the oils, because that's a really important topic.
Oh, it's huge, because remember, there's a lot of most of the oils that are out there, specifically if we go out to eat, they're using these hydrogenated oils, these genetically modified oils. I literally have stopped eating out because of the fact that they're using canola oil, which is all genetically modified, or vegetable oil. Just think about it. I mean, what vegetable is really oily? Like, how are they getting that? What
to go through a very ugly process.
Very processed.
And like I said in the last episode, right? People should really go to Google and type in hydrogenated oils, like how they're made, and your stomach will just do flip-flops. It's not food. It's not food to put in your body. So, and I was at the grocery store recently. It was kind of like more of a health food store. And in some things like jarred, preserved things, I saw like soybean oil in them, and the product looked very healthy. So it had like great marketing. The label was very clean and very pretty. But when I looked at the ingredients, I saw soybean oil and all these gums, and I put it back and I said, no, I'm just not doing it. It makes my life a little bit harder in the sense that, I really want that easy thing. But I've learned to have the discipline to say no to those kinds of ingredients in my food. And in Turkey, I go to Fresh Market. It's easier to get lots of things. But in the US, you have to switch your brain a lot. I have to say, okay, well, I can't get the fresh olives as often as possible. So I go for the jars. But again, even a jar of olives, or
gotta be really careful.
A container of yogurt can have all kinds of stuff like gelatins in them, and you go, well, why? They're adding, whenever there's something flavored, you have to really be careful. Like, what are they doing with the flavoring to add that flavor? Is it I'm telling you, most of the time it's not going to be natural, right? So the oils, but the oils specifically are in everything. I see soybean oil in almost everything.
Everything. So if it's processed, you would expect that to have some sort of artificial. So oils are really important. There are so you really want to go for the unrefined, really clean oils. But specifically, I think especially for family size, people are like, oh, oils can be really expensive. I know Costco has made it really easy. You do what you can do.
Right.
I can get organic, extra virgin olive oil at Costco. It may not be the best quality, but at least it's better than what I would be able to do. So you just want to take little steps, and that's, I think, it's important.
I agree with that. And also, I think let's question if we need that much oil. Okay, we're feeding a lot of people, but let's question how are we cooking to begin with? Are we deep frying everything? I basically use very little oil for sauteing, and I do a lot of things in the oven, roasted things, and my oil is used mostly in salads or to cover, it's used as like a topping on things because it's precious. It's, and it's destroyed when you cook it. So
you do destroy it. And that is what's really important, is that all of them have smoke points. So the ones that can be done at really high cooking, again, we should not be deep frying everything, but the higher ones are, coconut oil, avocado oil. Those can be used for higher heat. Yeah. Yeah. And then the thing is, for these oils, for to have real optimal benefit, I mean, if we really dive into the benefit of olive oil, we'll be sitting here all day. Like olives.
Do a separate
separate presentation. So powerful.
I love the olive tree. I finally got one in Turkey because it was like my lifelong dream to have my own olive tree. It's a small one, but I started taking the leaves off, and I have the mature tree in the yard, but my little one is still growing. But I started taking the leaves off and doing teas with that. It's like, that whole tree is. Let's do a separate segment.
I love it.
Yeah, but in terms of the oil, I mean, I sort of grew up with olive oil because of the Italian background, but the benefits really are, they do outweigh a lot of different. But there's also lots of fakes. There's also a lot of fake olive oil. Be really careful. And if it's really cheap, chances are they've mixed it with pumice oil, which is kind of like, I think, the remnants of the olives. It's kind of like, not so great quality. So you have to read everything. I get people all the time who say to me, is this a good product? Is this healthy? Is this halal? And I say, you know what? Unless I'm familiar with it and I've read the labels, even then, like you have to know more. You have to really study. You can't just take things for surface value. So
read labels. Super, super important.
So let's
vinegar. I mean, remember, vinegar is so important.
Yes.
Studies have shown that actually it's found to decrease the blood sugar levels. It helps to improve insulin sensitivity up to 34%. It really enhances weight loss. It lowers cholesterol. Overall, it is, regulates, so we talked about blood sugar levels, improves your skin, and reduces your blood pressure. It improves acid reflux. So on and on and on about the importance of these. And again, it's like fermented. So anytime it's fermented, again, it has tons more benefit in boosting immune system. And I remember these, specifically apple cider vinegar, that detoxifies the liver, it purifies the blood, it cleanses. So it really, and that's even just historically has been used at the time of even Hippocrates.
Yes.
A long time ago, yeah.
What's really nice, if any of you go to any like Middle Eastern or Mediterranean markets, you will find some really interesting vinegars, like date vinegar, pomegranate vinegar. Those are really delicious. I love to use those in salads and stuff. So try different kinds. It doesn't have to be apple. It doesn't have to be But there's all kinds. White vinegar, like white balsamic. There's all kinds of different vinegars. But I can say, like with the acid reflux, this helped me so much. And now they sell apple cider vinegar pills.
Oh my gosh. And actually what I do is I make my own ketchup.
Yes, me too.
And I actually take I make my own like Lazy Man's ketchup, which is pomegranate cider vinegar, honey, and a can or like a glass jar of tomato paste, and I mix it together, but everybody loves it, and especially with hot sauce in it. I know my sister loves that one, like putting hot sauce and then mixing it together. Oh, it's a Caesar plus. Now you're getting all the nutrient benefits.
Right.
Remember, a lot of these condiments have again sugar and all these things.
If you go at like some healthier grocery stores and you look at the label on a ketchup jar or container, a lot of times it has fructose in it, and it's just basically sugar or high fructose corn syrup. I wanted to say. Or other sugars, and really like it's easy to make yourself. So someone is asking here, it would be really nice if you give us recipes. So we will be giving recipes. I think we're starting that next week actually. We're today talking about ingredients that we use to cook and where we go to shop. So speaking of where we go to shop,
let's dive into that.
Yeah, so like I said, I always have olives in my pantry. Again, I have two worlds now. I have Turkey and the US, right? So in Turkey, I never buy anything like this jar because you don't have to. Olives are everywhere. And that's just the blessing of being in a place like that. So I never would buy these, but I would get them and then put them in some vinegar, like a brine solution. Sorry, not vinegar, but salt water. But here I do stock up on these, and I also watch what's in them. Like what are they still brining them in? So just something very simple: sea salt and citric acid. That's fine for me. And I usually go to, like in the US, I go to Trader Joe's.
Yes, I do. Trader Joe's, yeah, lots of Trader Joe's items here.
Great prices there for the same thing. I don't particularly like salad bars and stuff that are open because I feel like there's germs, and that's just me. A little bit OCD about that stuff, and I also feel like they get a little dried out. So that's what I do for things like that. But also you can use online resources like, some people don't like Amazon for everything, but you can find anything on Amazon if you want olives from a specific country, for example. There's also a lot of other online stores, like, if you want a specific country's, type of product, you can usually find those. And we're also doing a marketplace too in my halal kitchen. So we don't have any olives, we hope to. Yeah. So, there's ways, but I'm pretty choosy about that kind of stuff. And mostly what's even in the glass jar, it looks so simple, but they can put anything in these things.
Absolutely. And I do the very similarly. When I go shopping, my main place is to go shopping. So I have a large family to feed, so I don't like to splurge too much at Whole Foods or things like that because that can be costly. So remember, all of your local grocery stores here in Illinois, there's Meijer's, there's Jewel's, there's Target, there's Aldi, there's Walmart. Everything is now carrying organic natural foods. You can get everything. The products that I'm going to talk to you about can be even found at Walmart. Aldi. Now Aldi has so many grass-fed beef. And Jewel actually has organic halal grass-fed beef. And I actually got it for $3.99 the other day. Organic grass-fed Zabiya halal beef. Like you can't do better than that.
That's awesome. But that's because the demand has gone up. And so that's what I tell people all the time. You have to demand this stuff or it won't be brought to you. I mean, food is a business. And if they don't see that people are interested, but if they say people will not buy the chemically sprayed stuff, then they won't give it. They won't buy it. They'll give you that.
Some of the stores told me that they're not carrying. I had one store near me stopped carrying organic Zabiya halal chicken because they say Muslims just aren't buying it. Because the Muslims are not caring about the food quality. It's just the quantity. So we really now need to start honing in
Yeah.
Bringing this to our grocers that we need plenty of foods, we need pure foods, we need stuff that's not chemically altered.
Yes.
So it's really important.
Yeah. Can you tell us something about the olives? Because I just, whenever I see olives, I think of you with your kids, because you used to come over and you used to give your kids the olives and talk to them about how it was a prebiotic. Can you just touch on that? Because I think it's, most people know about probiotics, but can you just touch on the fact of olives being a prebiotic?
So like leeks, and all of those really help. Leeks, artichoke, all of these foods. So what is a prebiotic? A prebiotic are food for the probiotics.
Now, what does that mean?
And so probiotics are the gut bugs, the bugs in our body, right?
Okay.
And the prebiotics are food for our good bugs in our bodies. So the benefits of so there's so many different prebiotic foods that are out there, and the benefits are so huge. I mean, there's like leeks and artichokes and bananas and so like garlic and onions also all are part of that. But specific olives also like protect heart health. They support your brain health. They help mood disorders and depression. They actually lower the risk of diabetes. It helps weight loss, helping your gut microbiome and all these. It helps to weight loss and obesity prevention. They've even done studies, and we've seen this now, that it's associated with a lower risk of even cancers. So it helps fight cancers. It naturally slows aging. I mean, the list goes on and on about the benefits. So I carry out, we live this lifestyle, right? So in my car at all times, I have a can of olives. So at any time, whenever my kids are hungry, I'll pull out a can of olives, I'll open that up.
So here's the confusing part. If you can just simplify something for us. When I think of prebiotic, does that mean it has to come before, like at the beginning of a meal, or does it?
No.
It just means that it feeds the probiotic. That's all you mean by it.
So it's like it's really beneficial. It's basically food for your gut bacteria.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to clarify that. Okay. So I'm going to go quickly through the rest of the stuff without like deep diving in, because I want you to. We're like at the halfway mark, and I want you to show your stuff. So I'm just going to quickly go through this.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. I've got what's in my pantry here. Obviously, always fresh stuff. I always have tomatoes, and I leave these out, never in the fridge. Always citrus. I try to also, in addition to my black seed and honey, I try to always have warm lemon juice, lemon water in the morning. That just before coffee, before anything, I try to do that. Lots of avocados for good fat. That's sort of on my counter at all times. Other citruses like blood oranges, other oranges. I try to always have some kind of citrus if it's in season. Let's see. Almond milk, because you taught me that a lot of dairy products are inflammatory. And for me, when I was pre-diabetic, he got me off of dairy, which was still very hard for me. I have to say I do cheat sometimes because I love milk and milk products, but I do feel a lot better when I'm off of them. So I actually make my own almond milk too, which I'm going to show you guys.
Oh, we got to do that.
But in the downtime, I buy some unsweetened, plain original. That's how I do it. Spices. I always have Himalayan salt and sea salt. I do not use table salt for anything. I've read that there are chemicals in table salt, so that's off my table. I don't carry that anymore at all. Turmeric, I keep it because it's very anti-inflammatory, right? I don't cook with it a lot, but I sometimes put it in milk, almond milk or regular milk, just to kind of have it in my system because it's so good for fighting inflammation, which is important for me personally.
Spices right here, yep.
Yeah. I always have tons of different types of nuts on hand for snacking. But my favorite is almond because I make milk from it too. So I kind of big bags as much as possible. And I'm not a sweet tooth. I don't have a sweet tooth at all. really. I like fruits and stuff, but can I just say, like, I do dark chocolate, very dark chocolate.
I got mine.
That? Oh,
yeah. We're gonna talk about
okay, I usually do minimum 70%. I love 85%, but I found 100% chocolate, 100%. And the cashier said to me, that's really, really, really chocolate. Like, we take, little bits of it. And I said, I'm good. Like, I like this stuff, but I've never had 100%. So if anybody's had 100% chocolate, so tell us a little bit, like, how is this something that is actually good when it's considered like a sweet for most people think of chocolate as a no, but how could like 100% chocolate be good for you?
Well, super antioxidants, tons of polyphenols that really help. There's phytochemicals and phytonutrients in that all really help to improve the immune system. And, it's really good for you overall. And heart health, the list goes on and on about the importance of having some sort of dark chocolate in that.
Yeah. Well, she approves, everybody, but it has to be real. So
it's gotta be real. Yep, it's gotta be real.
I can't even go through all of my spices with you guys because we would be here the rest of the day. But I do buy a lot of things in bulk if I'm going to use them within 6 months. So I do a lot of cinnamon. In the winter, I make a tea with this cinnamon and rose hips, and it just warms the body. It's so good. But I cook with it also. So I don't buy more than you're going to use because it will just go bad. But I kind of condense the spices just to show you guys. When I travel, I actually take this little travel kit with me because it has like all these little spices that I actually cook with. So I'm a big proponent of I have like a foundational spice mix that I use. Sea salt, black pepper. Depends what I'm cooking, but I always have cumin. I always have turmeric on hand. I always have some garlic, or if I'm traveling, maybe a garlic powder. But things like that. Like I feel like they're not just for flavor, but they're for health.
Oh, absolutely. The amount, because remember, they're super concentrated. So these spices are super concentrated versions of like whatever it is. So that's why you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. And this is probably the easiest way that you can start to really add immune boosting qualities to your foods.
By using spices?
Yeah, just by using spices.
So they have turmeric pills now. What would you say to that?
So, depending on, I would really start to try to see if you could just add it in to your daily meals, because that has a lot more immune boosting. Not everybody needs to be on turmeric pills,
right?
But if you add a little bit goes a long way. And then see that, remember, these are all foods, and the more different types of quality, the more different types of quantity the foods we have, quality and quantity.
Yes.
So the better our microbiome is, the better diversity of our microbiome. So this is where you can get a lot of different types of phytonutrients and improve the overall gut health by just having tons of different types of so use different spices. And this is what's so beautiful. I think this is the book that we're going to come out. We're going to cover all of these different recipes around the world, but each one has a different type of herbs and spices that they use. So always check, if the Middle Eastern has a totally different set of herbs and spices. You want to start to incorporate all of these different spices.
Exactly. And I think, sometimes we look to other cultures to say, oh, they're much healthier than the rest of us. I don't believe that. I believe that every culture has traditionally had a set of real food and ingredients that were healthy for that climate, for that location, and those people adapted to those things. Wherever you are in the world, go for what is like as local as possible, as seasonal as possible, and it's always real food. You know, I think that those are the most important things, because I see people really reaching for things that are out of the reach, and then they become more expensive. We don't need to do that. You don't need to say one culture is better than the other and they have these spices, whatever. And not everybody's body can handle, you know, cumin or hot pepper or whatever. So I don't think we need to beat ourselves up about these things. I think we really need to kind of take it in stride and see there's anti-inflammatory properties of a lot of different things. So what suits you as a person, right?
And just make sure that they're organic and clean.
Yes, and clean. You know, I saw turmeric creamer at the grocery store, and that made me kind of think, like, what would it taste like in coffee? I added some turmeric to my coffee. I have to say I didn't enjoy that cup of coffee very much, but I did drink the whole thing because I didn't want to waste the turmeric. But it was an interesting concept. I mean, I think I put too much. If I had put like a tiny teaspoon, it would have been fine. But I put so much in it that it was like sinking at the bottom, and you know. But it could have like a really interesting flavor to come. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it to you to kind of show us what you bring to the table.
So for me, again, remember, we want to make sure that these foods that we have are nutrient dense, help heal your gut, and balance your hormone levels. So whenever I shop on the outside of the grocery store. Right. When you start getting inside the grocery store, that's when you can start getting into some problems, and that's when you really have to start reading labels. Yeah. And you have to do it at the outside grocery store too, especially with the different types of fishes, which I've noticed is a huge culprit. You're sitting there and thinking, oh, it's wild caught salmon, but not realizing that they're putting preservatives in that.
Or dyes, colorings.
Or dyes, yeah, like dyes and coloring. So that's why I remember.
It's crazy.
It's really crazy. So that's why always read labels, focus on your vegetables, clean protein and healthy fats. If you start, in my mind, I like to not focus on the foods that I can't have. I focus on the foods that I can have. So I like to crowd out, because you crowd out that you don't even focus. When you focus on, I think right now we have given ourselves where there's hundreds of thousands of different foods out there, and we're concentrated on 5. So I want you to, instead of the concentrating the 5 that we should not be eating, which we're eating mostly, but start to now incorporate more different types of vegetables. Try go through the aisles and see, not the aisles, the actual grocery, outside of the grocery store, and try different types of vegetables. Try different types of healthy protein and healthy fats, and really go from there. So that's what I start with. So tons of vegetables. My entire pantry is stocked with, and my fridge is stocked. I have one entire drawer for fruit. I have one entire drawer for just vegetables, and actually
we have a big family. We have a big family.
I cook it. Yeah, I cook and clean. I cook for a family of 8 on a daily basis, and before COVID-19, it used to go to 20. So I'm not.
How do you do that?
Yeah, and this is how I feed them. I will not feed anybody what I will not feed myself. Period. I will not do that. So, so if I can do it, you guys can do it. So I always focus on tons of vegetables, clean protein, healthy fats, fruit, have separate sections so the kids know that they can go straight into the pantry or straight into the.
They help themselves, right? You don't have to.
For my own sanity. Absolutely.
So it sounds like you streamlined your, like, you know what you're buying. Like you've gotten to a rhythm. I think everybody has to sort of get into their rhythm. Like they know the products that they like that are good. And then they keep track of those. And then when you go back to the grocery store, you're not spending, because initially I was spending an hour or 2 in the grocery store just reading stuff until I got acclimated to the things that really were good. And now it's like, boom, boom, boom. Okay, no, that's not, boom, you know,
absolutely
done, boom, at home. Everything has a place.
And that's my thing. Absolutely. You just go around the grocery store. I have my tons of vegetables, my clean produce. I have my protein. I get my healthy fats. I get my fruit. And now, so that should be on every plate. But remember, now we want to have fun still, right? And this is where it's nice to have fun and to have what Yvonne was saying, to have some of those fast snack foods for my own sanity purposes.
Yeah.
And to really then go for, different types of things. I'm going to tell you what I do for my own sanity purposes. So in my fridge, in my pantry, I have different types of snacks that they can have, that the kids, I want to make sure that they don't feel left out that they're not only just eating vegetables, cooked protein. I just feel like I just want to incorporate, because they're seeing commercials on a regular basis. Remember, my from 12 to 4. So, or actually just turned 5 yesterday. So, but like, crackers out there. That's
their friends, right? Like their friends might. You don't want them to feel.
You don't want them to feel weird. But what I want to show people that there's different things that you can do to still have fun. So you just want to start reading labels. So there's an entire brand that cooks with almond flour. You know, so there's tons of things there that can cook with almond flour. And
can I just stop you right there real quick?
Yeah.
The reason why I want people to pay attention to this part of what you're saying, go back to our first webinar last week, and you talked about wheat, and I asked you the question, like, what about even organic? And you were like, So you have a whole explanation about it. So I want everybody to go back to that one, watch it, listen to your response, and I will be honest, like I was buying organic wheat products, and now I'm not buying any because of that conversation. So that product being almond flour. I mean,
absolutely. Because remember, you want to think, if you're going to fill this little tummy up with the most, or our tummies up with the most nutrient dense food that's going to help heal our gut, that's going to help balance our hormone levels, you want to make sure that it's, again, nutrient dense. And doesn't have a purpose.
Right.
So if I get the same kind of same kind of taste and deliciousness from something that has more nutrient density, and it's better for me, I'm going to go for that option. Because I have tried and tried and tried. I cannot find any nutritional value in rice. I cannot find any nutritional, like the white. I can't find any nutritional value.
Isn't that what they used to fill you up at restaurants? I mean, it's and you feel kind of bloated after you eat that stuff. It is because like it's air, or I don't know.
Oh, no. So then we do have fun. So there's crackers out there. Remember, just look at the ingredients. Like if you see this ingredient, this is just, nuts and seeds, tapioca, cassava, which is a root vegetable, garlic, and that's it. Like that's it. And it's delicious. Costco has them in larger quantities. You can get them in cookies. Also, remember, if my kids are like, oh, I really want a treat, their option is there. In my house, I don't ever really say no. I stock my pantry, and this is, I think, really important, is you have to stock for success.
Yes.
And when you stock for success, you don't feel like they're being deprived. Because if you tell your kids or you tell your family members, no, you can't have that. No, you can't have that. No, you can't have that. There's a constant struggle. In my house, if that's what they want, if they have their vegetables, clean protein, healthy fats, I know that there's nothing in my house that is not nutrient dense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it gives them freedom, and there's less arguments, and there's less negativity. There's more like, oh my God, look at all these things that I can eat.
Instead of, and I think that happens with the halal haram kind of conversation, right?
Absolutely.
Like we need to change the conversation. Like there's so much that you can have. So that's what we're trying to do here, is to show.
So here there's like tons of, this is again a cookies made out of almond flour. This is a taco. This is an entire brand. Let me show you this. It's an entire brand called that cooks with cassava flour. So many different brands out there that cook with cassava flour. And then there's tortillas. There's burrito wraps. There's tortillas. There's so many things. There's nachos. There's taco shells.
I think we're gonna have to make a blog post with all of the suggestions, and then we will give those to you guys so you can click on links and find this stuff. So we'll do that after.
And then we can absolutely. And then remember, even pastas. I do like organic lentil pastas.
How are those?
They're so good. Actually, I just cooked some right now. I have it right here. I can even show you. Like, it's so delicious. Actually, my sister made this. She's an amazing cook. They're like, check this out. Like, you can't tell. And she put so many. She put like grass-fed beef in here. She put mushrooms. She put olives. She put, everything in here. And you can still have, whenever I cook this, I add cauliflower rice. So let me show you that. I always have frozen cauliflower rice. Remember Trader Joe's? I was like cauliflower rice. So I stick this in everything. I stick it in the pasta sauce. So there's two things that I stick in everything. I stick broccoli greens, and I stick cauliflower rice, even like cabbage, and actually mushrooms, like shiitake mushrooms, again, super beneficial. I stick all of these things in all of my foods. If I'm making kebabs, I'll stick it in there.
It's kind of like you're adding minerals and nutrients into your food. And that's what's key. Yeah, that's what's key about what she's saying is that it's like, you know, when you make a chicken broth or stock or beef or whatever, why do they add so many vegetables? Because the vegetables also have all of those nutrients. So that's one of the most powerful dishes you can have on the planet is a broth filled with vegetables, right? Because you want to constantly add nutrient dense food properties into your meals.
Right? Absolutely. So, and that's what these are the things that I incorporate into my meals, in my kebabs and my pasta sauces. So the kids, again, they're getting their pastas, but they don't realize that they're also getting tons of different vegetables.
Where do you get your lentil pasta? Because as an Italian, I have to say, like, it is really hard to break the pasta. You know, like I can't wrap my brain around a lentil pasta. So there's probably more people like me. What would you say to that? Like, first of all, where do you get it, and what would you say to that?
So I have done cooking demonstrations for 200 people. I've done this with this specific types of pasta, this lentil pasta, and no one can tell the difference. And it's really delicious. You can get them at Trader Joe's. You can get them at Whole Foods. You can actually get them at your local grocery store. Just look for the lentil pasta. There's so many different types. I just know Trader Joe's has a really good one, and it's really cost effective.
Yeah, I have seen it.
Really delicious. Yeah, and then it's really delicious. So the other things that I think I'm just going to quickly touch on is so there's two main things. One, I want to talk about some probiotic condiments. Right? And remember, you can get condiments like this one.
What's that?
This one's like a sriracha, but probiotics.
Where did you get that? I haven't seen that.
So this one is double fermented. This is Whole Foods. So sometimes I'll just go and get, but I wanted to show you that even condiments, I don't just think about, even my condiments have a purpose. So just like we talked about the ketchup earlier, you want to choose condiments that really help to boost your overall immune system. And another thing that I know we talked about was soy, right? How soy is just all genetically modified. Here we have, we use like a coconut aminos. Coconut aminos, you can buy these. Again, Trader Joe's has probably the most cheapest one. There's so many different types out there. But this coconut aminos is delicious for all of your like stir fries. And that's what I cook all my vegetables in. I put some coconut aminos and garlic.
I want to ask you something about the aminos. So I make my own soy sauce alternative, which is in my cookbook, and I use blackstrap molasses. And a lot of people think that that's just like they hear the word molasses and they think sugar and not healthy, but actually blackstrap molasses is really good.
I don't know.
Yeah, can you touch on that just a bit? Do you know anything about
it? It's super antioxidants. It does have these phytonutrients that do improve the immune system. The blackstrap molasses does.
Yeah. So and mixed with some of the ingredients I put in that recipe, it even smells like soy sauce. Really good. So there's a couple alternatives you guys have right now. You know.
Yeah, and then remember, so I do cook with almond flour. There's tons of different flours out there that I do for the baking. Because now I'm going to get to like desserts. So we talked about, some of the pantry items that I have. So vegetables, clean protein, healthy fats, then some pantry items that I always carry. And then, so that's why for baking, for sweets. And let me show you this. Like I wanted to show you like this. So this is like a banana bread I made. So this is a banana bread. So, but what is in this banana bread? Honey, almonds, bananas, eggs, and some avocado oil. That's it. And this is
because I'm some kind of bready thing, and because I have no bread in my house, I have no pasta in my house. It's kind of getting desperate over here.
Yeah. So it does. I mean, again, we want like a sweet tooth. So if we have a sweet tooth, I'm not telling you don't eat sweets. So we're telling you just choose the ones you have. There's an entire brand. You can even get chocolate. Remember, whenever you look at chocolate, yes, you want to look at chocolate. You want to, again, I use 70% or above, and you want to make sure that there's really no sugar in it, because a lot of it has a lot of like artificial sugars in it. So I use ones with coconut sugar that you can get at the local grocery stores. And then, okay, so now this is for the kids, right? Because again, you don't want to, so there are organic freezer pops that I always have, especially now. I know they're organic. Yeah, I thought you were close there. Like, come on, I just need to put it over a plate and send it to Turkey. So if you look at the ingredients, you know, they're clean ingredients. There's no sugar added. So I don't feel like, so my kids
That's good. It's just fruit, frozen fruit.
It's just frozen fruit.
But you can make if you put this, you know, blender, put the strawberries in the blender, pour it into ice cube trays.
Again, it just gives them the idea that, you know, when you're going
they have something that
can really help them.
You can actually buy, Madiha, you can actually buy those plastic frozen things that it's called like zipsicles or something.
Oh, yeah.
You can pour it in and make your own, and then the kids will think it's like, you know, manufactured from the store or something.
Yeah. No, so I think
they have a lot of tricks up their sleeves. I think
they do. They do. I think it's just in my mind, I need sanity, right? So it's nice to have these fun things. So what Yvonne and I have both trying to say is that you can still have fun. You can still enjoy all of those delicious treats and all the delicious, because, you know, food now is more of a culture. It's like fun, and we can still have a lot of fun, but just nutrient dense ingredients that are going to help heal your gut bacteria, that are balancing your hormones, that are clean, that are pure, that are devoid of any chemicals or genetically modified ingredients.
Yeah.
And it is all, and everything that we talked about here can be easily found at, you know, at your local grocery store, at Trader Joe's. So it's really, really good.
The mind shift that I've had is when I shop for anything, I think about my gut all the time now. I think, what is that gonna like poke holes in my gut or something? Because
really,
if you visualize it, it kind of makes you a little bit more cautious, and you think to yourself, okay, when that happens, you know, you have to then repair it. Do I want to go through that work to repair? Because I don't feel as good when that's happening, and it does affect your brain fog. It does give you brain fog, and like there's little signs that you can see in your body that tell you what you're eating is, you know, basically puncturing the gut, and that's helped me make my decisions, you know.
And it does. Yeah, absolutely. I do that with my kids too. So you can say that, because we think, oh no, my kids are so used to it, I can't change them. How am I going to change them now? Yeah. You know what? The first word that God sent to Muslim like to us was read, to educate, to empower. Education is so important. So I've noticed that once I'm able to educate my children, so remember they're 12 to 5, and they know exactly what's happening, just like what you're saying, that I'm thinking about, oh my God, how is that the food going to affect my gut? To them, I'm like, okay, how is that food going to affect your gut microbiome? How the friends in your belly? Mm-hmm. And so they don't have a chemical in their bodies.
Right, it's not to be fear-based, but it's to empower. So you know the negative thing that can happen, but then you have all this amazing stuff that actually is feeding your gut microbiome in a healthy way, and then, you know, supporting your overall immunity. And
it's empowering. It's very empowering.
I think everybody can tap into their own personal power now. They can, you know, use these tips to go to the grocery stores, the markets, and shop for things that you like, the tastes that you favor. Maybe you come from a certain traditional ethnic background, and you think, well, I don't want to buy that flavor of oil or that. You know, you can find something within your specific ethnic cuisine, or, you know, background. You can find those things. We're just trying to give you the tools to eliminate the sort of yucky kind of ingredients that can be put into something so good and pure, and then, you know, they're ruined. So there's just a bit of reading labels and really knowing where to find stuff, and keep going back and getting those things that work for you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We really need variety in our diets.
We do. Variety is important. super important to keep our immune systems healthy. Tons of real foods. The more different types of variety of foods that we eat, the healthier we are.
Right.
Did you want to take the next 10 minutes, I think, to just answer some questions that we have?
We're at our 1 hour mark. If there are any questions, I know there was one question. Someone asked about the molasses, asking, would pomegranate molasses work? And I would say I have some pomegranate and grape molasses here. And again, it's like looking at the back, the labels, to see if there are any preservatives, added colorings, and why would they need to add sugar? Because this is already sweet. They basically cook the grapes down, or they cook the pomegranate down really for a long time, and so that gets all those sugars out. So if they're adding sugar, forget it. There's no need for them, right? So again, it's just reading the labels. You know, they use this in Turkey for salads. So there's a really nice salad with like lettuce, cucumber, parsley, olive oil, sea salt, and pomegranate molasses. It's so simple. And maybe a little lemon juice. It's very, very tasty, but it's got all this healthy stuff. There's another recipe called kisar, which is with bulgur and tomatoes and pomegranate seeds. And then you put pomegranate molasses in it too. And it's just, but you don't have a lot. Bring it up just a little bit. You know, so these don't go bad. You open them up. You can find these at Middle Eastern and Mediterranean markets. But when I open them, I put them in the fridge just because I don't want to keep them out. I think they spoil. But
awesome. Yeah, I got another question here. I can show this one. What is the best thing you can do for your gut health? And Sajida, I think that the best thing that you can do for your gut health is to replace those nutrient lacking ingredients for those nutrient dense ingredients, and then try to add in more probiotic different types of foods like kimchi and sauerkraut, and adding that vinegar in will really help to heal your gut bacteria.
So you advise me like yogurt just to minimize my yogurt because I have a dairy issue, right? And I love
a lot of people. Yeah, so I have found that a lot of people actually. Most studies have even shown that dairy actually, because we've been doing the wrong type of dairy for so long, it's been homogenized and pasteurized, and our bodies, you know, if we were having raw dairy all our lives, I don't think we would have ever had problems.
Yeah,
but if we start to change that, and then that now is the most commercially available type that is out there. Our bodies, and that's the one that we're eating more often. Our bodies are attacking it.
Right.
And leading to more problems. So therefore, I tried to specifically with somebody with, and now the studies have shown that it actually increases the mucus. It's very mucus.
Yes. You know, and in Turkey, at the markets, I can get raw milk and raw milk yogurt. And they tell you to boil the milk a little bit, just so, but it doesn't kill everything off like, you know, a store-bought milk, right? And I had a bit of a time adjusting to that. The yogurt is very sour, but and I did it. My body had a hard time adjusting, but eventually it did. And now it's like that's real yogurt. You know, it's straight from the cow, straight from the sheep, or whatever. And you just don't see that in the world that often. You know, you don't get that out. So if anybody goes to like a farmer's market and finds that kind of yogurt, I would say like, please try it if you
absolutely
like yogurt, because it's not going to be anything like what's in the grocery stores.
No,
it's not.
And then here's another
alive, right? Alive.
Yeah.
It's alive food.
Yes, alive. So now that we're talking about probiotics, here's a question by Aisha. Says that, can you tell us, let us know a good probiotic? So again, food is the best probiotic. So that 1 spoon of like some sort of fermented vegetables has thousands and thousands of different types. Because if you look at probiotic supplements, there's only 10 different bugs in them at the most. You know, some of them, but our gut bacteria, we have thousands and thousands of different types. So the best type of probiotic that you can get is through food. But I do, for those people that sometimes can't tolerate it, there are really good, like Doctor's Formula has a good Claire. There's so many different types of the ones that I do for my family. But remember, food is first and foremost. I'm just going through some of these questions. Oh, here is another question here. Organic and clean spices, can you share a brand? So again, there's so many different brands out there, right?
Yeah, I said I typed in 365 at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
But they can be a little pricey.
I think, or I just like Simply Organics is another one that you can find at every store. So that's amazing.
And Penzies is another good, really good resource if you're in Chicago.
Oh, perfect. Yes, you put that up there.
Yeah. And I don't think you have to get them in bulk because they go bad. So unless you're a restaurant, keep them fresh. After 6 months, they lose their potency, which is what is the point after that?
Absolutely. Okay, excellent.
So do we have any more questions, or can we sign?
Yeah, we can sign. I think there were great info. Hoping to do more on vegan organic. Somebody wants to know, I'm hoping that as a baker, I agree, I'm hoping to do more. Good, that's awesome. We'll do some more. And that's the way that I cook. I've started, here's another question here. Can you talk about the gut bacteria and 3-day fasting from solid foods? So they've done studies now that have shown that when you fast, it can really reset your entire immune system. So fasting is one of the best body ways of defense for your body against everything bad that's going on. Specifically with the current situation, we don't really have an offense yet, but we do have, so fasting is one of the best defenses to fight off all of these things naturally, obviously. So they even say that when you fast, what happens is that it leads to something called autophagy that goes and starts to eat off all of the bad cells that are there, and actually is really good for the gut microbiome also. So it helps, yes. Gut bacteria.
We're asking for your banana bread recipe. So I think what we're going to do, if you don't mind, if you can share it, we will post that, and then also your all of our recommendations here.
Yes, and then we can go ahead and put that together. I know Yvonne has amazing things on her website. On mine, I have the healing bundle. I have a healing bundle with 25 of my recipes. It's a free healing bundle that can be found on my website. And that has 25 of my recipes, what a healing week looks like, what a healing day looks like, a shopping list, my shopping list at my house, and what is in my pantry, all on the healing bundle.
That's at holisticmommd.com.
Yeah. So free healing bundle. So that's something that they can do again. But Yvonne has lots of amazing recipes and some resources, so we can really.
So we will, if you're subscribed to my newsletter, myhellokitchen.com//subscribe, you will get alerts about these kinds of webinars that we're doing and links to any blog posts where all of this information will reside. So we're working together to make sure that this information is available on both of our websites. And if you want to join us every week, Wednesday at the same time, inshallah, we are going to be doing this. So next week we're going to be, I think, doing recipes, right? Breakfast.
Yeah, we're gonna start. Yeah, we're gonna start now, like practical kitchen.
Yes. So we'd love your feedback too. Like, we have about 2 months of these webinars planned, but beyond that, we're still talking about what else we'll be doing. So if you have ideas, we're collecting those ideas. So some of you said vegan foods or whatever. Keep adding those comments. We'll take them, and then we'll try to do shows. I think we have to do one on olive oil. We have to do one on fasting. We have so much to do. So I think we're going to be here for a long time.
This is going to be so much fun. And again, remember that Yvonne and I live this lifestyle. And if we can both do it with our busy schedules, anybody can do it.
It has to be a priority, right?
It has to be a priority.
I feel, wherever I go, wherever I travel, I mean, I have I mean, I feel like a little bit loony sometimes because if they look in my suitcase, they will find spices. And sometimes I think, are they going to stop me for spices? But or my lemon, I have my lemon juicer in there, and all kinds of stuff. But it's based on how I feel. I feel better when I eat better, and I want to maintain that every day, no matter where I am and what I'm doing.
Absolutely. For me, I don't even deviate because I have all this energy. I don't have any symptoms where I used to feel sick all the time. Now I don't feel that way. And I want to have the very best me that I can be. So, because we have me and Yvonne both have a message we need to spread. So we be the change you wish to see in the world. So we're doing it. We're going to spread it.
Yes.
And we're hoping to get you guys all on board to really create a revolution.
So Rosie asked about our website addresses. So I posted those there for you guys to check those out. We're pretty active on social media too. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and where else?
Groups, like everywhere. LinkedIn.
So yes, it is a revolution of sorts, and it's a good, healthy, peaceful revolution inside our bodies. So, all right, thank you guys for watching. Please do us a favor and like our pages, subscribe to our YouTube channels, and share this webinar with your friends. And go back to the first one, watch that, share that with your friends and family, and inshallah, we will see you guys next Wednesday.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.